Tinderella. This is your host, Julie Thompson. Today we are going to be talking about the infamous dating app Tinder and, well, whether or not it has destroyed online dating or has been beneficial to it. To make it simple, Tinder is another online dating app that you can get on your phone that people use to find partners and see where things go. Simply, people make a profile, put some good pictures on it, write a clever biography, and I'm saying that in quotes, and basically, if you both swipe right, it's a match. And if one or both swipe left, you move on to the next one. Okay, should be recording. All right, so at this time, I'd like to introduce my friend and kind of Tinder connoisseur, Jonna.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, funny enough that we're recording this right after you get into a relationship that wasn't even off Tinder.
It's a little ironic.
It's a little ironic.
Yeah, especially because I was single for how long?
You're single for like 3 years. So, anyways, all right, to start this off, there's an article literally called You Up, which is an insight from people who share their experiences on Tinder. What I found interesting was this one girl said, frankly, dating apps can also just make things incredibly awkward, and that Tinder is supposed to bring people together, but it actually pushes them emotionally further apart. So I guess my question to you is, what do you think about that? Do you think what she's saying is true, and why?
Yeah, I think it's like true and not true at the same time, because I mean, with all social media, it's like there's a distance between you and the other person. When you're looking at a screen, like, you don't know what this person sounds like. You don't know how they act, like, non-verbally, you know?
Yeah.
Which non-verbal cues, in my opinion, are, like, really important in dating. And it's awkward to, like, meet up with someone you meet online. Just at the very least. Most times it's scary, especially for women, because, you know, you never know who's a good person.
Yeah, you never know, like, when you pull up next to them in a car, let's say.
Because anyone can say anything online.
Yeah, they really can.
You know?
So, do you think that people attempt to actually connect with somebody, or is it all just kind of a physical thing through Tinder?
I think, on Tinder, I think it's mostly physical.
Why?
Because that's kind of how people perceive the app. Like, how people use the app is mostly for hookups.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that is very accurate, though. Most people do use it for hookups.
Yeah.
So, we're going to follow this with... All right, so you and I have been best friends for literally 10 whole years.
Yep.
And at this point, we know each other's dating history.
Fairly well.
Absolutely. You know it to a T, every detail of it.
You remember mine more than I remember my own.
Yeah, but you remember mine more.
Yeah.
So, to my listeners, I'm going to throw out there that she's not on Tinder because she is in a relationship as of right now, but she used to be. Currently, I actually am.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it does get very dull and boring after a while. I know, what do you think about that?
It's super boring. It's like having the same conversations over and over again. Like, honestly, sometimes, like, when you're on it, it just feels like the first date questions literally over and over. How many times has someone asked me what my favorite color is? It's just boring.
It really is.
And, like, everybody messages the same things. Like, even people's bios. Like, there's bios that go viral, and then everybody starts using them. Especially dudes, because, like, I feel like guys, it's harder for them to be, like, authentic.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that, because, like, I had mine set to girls and guys, and, like, girls' bios always tend to be, like, more creative and, like, actually give you an idea of what the person's like. You know, like, it genuinely tended to list more interest and things like that, and they were easier to talk to sometimes.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. I mean, for me, because I only date girls, it can be interesting, but at the same time, girls play that the coyness, the mysterious, and also, like, for me personally, I've had to, like, deal with a lot of girls ask the same questions that guys do.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's always like, what's your favorite color? What are you into? What kind of music you're into? And it's like, that level of communication just feels so forced.
It's not just forced, it's also just like, it's just boring. It's mundane.
All right, so regardless of that, it was studied that college-age users are subjected to increased levels of objectifying people based on their looks and eligibility to hook up or not. And they turn And they have, in turn, developed an unhealthy way of viewing sexual relationships. I mean, it's going to sound horrible, but is that really so wrong?
Well, it's not right, but it's human nature. That's, to me, in my opinion, that's just human nature. You're always, like, despite everything, going to look at someone and get preconceived notions.
How so?
Well, I mean, on Tinder itself, I always left swiped dudes that had, like, their profile picture either, like, a truck or, like, they're holding a fish. It's because it's, like, the same kind of guy that's like that, and I'm not into those people.
So you're saying you would left swipe. Okay. So for my listeners as well, Jonna and we've talked about this multiple times. This is a normal conversation. That we have this quote and unquote God complex. Because you do get to choose, like, you get to swipe left if you don't like someone. And you get to swipe right if you're, like, kind of into them.
Yeah.
So, you know, they actually have to do research for this and all that fun stuff. So I was reading, and it talked about, like, Tinder and college relationships. And some girl said that I feel like people get really caught up with it. And people get their feelings hurt if they sorry, I'm horrible at reading, guys. I feel like people get really caught up with it, and people get their feelings hurt if they don't get every other person they swipe right. If they don't get matched with them, then they get offended. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's good for people's self-esteem.
I don't think it's good for people's self-esteem for people that put so much weight on other people's opinions, like Felicia. Like,
that's
Felicia's
one of our best friends.
Our friend Felicia, she's obsessed, in a way, I'd say, with how many people swipe on her and how many people she matches with. And Felicia would never talk to those people in real life.
No, she wouldn't.
She doesn't even talk to them on the app. She just wants the numbers. She wants the likes, essentially.
She wants the attention.
She wants the attention. And there's tons of people that are like that. And, like, when she doesn't match with, like, someone that she wants to, it's, like, kind of a blow to her. Because her self-esteem's wrapped up in other people's perceptions. So for people like you and me, where, like, we don't put as much weight on what other people think, it doesn't bother us as much.
So I was going to follow that up with, do you get offended when people don't match with you?
No. Why would I want to match with them when they clearly don't even, like, want to have a conversation or anything?
That's true. I mean, yeah, I feel the same way. Like, do you think I get easily offended?
No.
At this point, like, at our age, it's like, just to bear in mind, I'm 22 and John is 23.
Yeah.
Like, we are just slightly over that college age mark, because most college age students are between 18 and 22. Mm-hmm. We're slightly above that, but we've been on these apps since we were, like, 18.
18. I was on it at 18. And honestly, like, I probably shouldn't have been on it, because when I first got on it, like, it was, like, an ego boost, remember?
It was. It really was.
Because it's like, look, I made so many matches, even though I didn't talk to, like, any of them.
It sounds bad because, in a way, like, no, I didn't talk to them when I got all these matches. But at the same time, it's weird. It can negatively affect your self-esteem, but it also can boost it in a way that, like, people match with me, and I'm like, wow, maybe I am kind of attractive.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, you know, like, at that time, it helped.
Oh, no, it really did.
Especially because, like, I wasn't one to be in, like, the dating scene in high school and stuff.
Neither was
like, we weren't into that shit. Like, we weren't into, like, dating in high school. Like, it just wasn't something I wanted to do. And then when I was, like, in college, I was like, you know what? Like, maybe it's time for me to, like, talk to people. Like, you know, and Tinder made it really easy to, like, bumble through that stuff. To, like, have conversations and, like, meet up with new people.
Yeah, it helped break that barrier. Because there's always that wall where you're like, I'm not going to sit there, like, out in public and go up to a girl that I think is pretty and be like, hey, and strike up a conversation. Mm-hmm. And that's probably because and we can all make the joke that I'm a lesbian. And that for me,
it's harder to find girls.
It's honestly,
in real life.
For the girls that I like, let's be real, they look straight.
Yeah.
So, like, I never personally know.
No, yeah.
So
it's hard to tell.
I'm not going to put myself out there like that, but on the internet.
Oh, yeah, but it was easier for me, too, because that was, like, around the time I, like, realized, like, that I was also, like, into girls. And, like, it was harder for me to talk to girls. And it was so easy to do it on Tinder when they matched with me.
When they matched with her. when they did. By the way, she gets, like, no girls.
No girls.
It's
Girls don't think I like girls.
It's really funny.
It's sad.
I mean, I kind of just throw myself out there and let it happen. I throw the reel out there, I get a couple bites. And I'm like, maybe I'm not that bad looking. And I'm like, all right, cool. And do I really ever talk to them? No, and I feel horrible about that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is nobody, I feel like, in a way, like, nobody takes online interaction seriously.
No, at this point, there's very few. You hit 1 in a million on that.
Yeah. And, like, I feel like at some point, like, because I was on it for, like, when I was 18 and I'd take breaks from it and stuff, I honestly would go back on it because I was bored and, like, wanted to, like, look at people
No.
and, like, see who, like, swiped on me or, like, you know, like, remember I had that, in one moment I had just, like, screenshots of, like, weird conversations I had with people.
Yeah.
Like weird pictures people had on their profiles and shit.
I mean, you and I both have been back and forth with that. And I mean, recently, I took, like, 3 months off of it?
Yeah.
I decided to take, like, a full break from all these apps because they just kind of annoyed me. And it was so boring.
Yeah, it's just boring.
But now that I am back on it, and I mean, do I talk to a lot of people? No. Because I just relatively haven't cared.
Yeah.
But it's also that I'm bored, so, like, I kind
Yeah.
of want some human
interaction.
Something
interaction. Fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you're so busy, like, with school and work and stuff that it's hard for you to go out. We're, like, now that we're, like, over the age of 21, like, a lot of our friends that we've met at like bars and stuff.
Yeah, and I've met various, let's say, potential suitors
yeah.
at bars.
And, like, honestly, like, at our age, like, bars and, like, clubs and stuff, like, that's, like, dating pool areas.
That is, like, the human version of Tinder at this point.
Yeah, and it has been for, like, a really long time. I mean, like, that's where I met my ex. You know, like,
Yeah.
that's where I met him was when I was 21.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't meet my long-term girlfriend until we actually worked together.
Yeah.
Which was weird for me because my previous relationship from her was actually from Tinder.
Yeah.
So I think
Well, we both have previous Tinder relationships that actually turned into relationships.
And then became the worst mistakes of our lives.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, it was not...
Yeah.
We've lived long lives already. All right, so I'm going to ask you one final question.
Okay.
And you are allowed to ask it back to me.
Okay.
Because we have weird lives. All right, dude. What is the weirdest experience and story that you have personally that comes from Tinder?
This is, like, so hard.
You got to do
so
it.
hard. Well, there's that time where you and my closest friends left for, like, a week.
We went to Miami. We
went to
invited
Miami.
you.
I couldn't go because of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really bored, so I was on Tinder, like, all week. And I met John. And by the time you guys got back, we were in a relationship.
Yeah, by the way, was not a fan of this.
Nobody was. And that turned into, like, a year from hell.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, he was horrible, guys.
It was bad. So that one was pretty funny. Got into a relationship because I was lonely.
We left for not even a week. I think it was 6 days.
It was like 6 days.
Yeah, because we got homesick.
Yeah. You guys left early.
Yeah, we left early.
And by the time you got back, I was in a relationship.
You got any others?
But that just shows it's like when I was 18, and that's like, they rush intimacy. Like, these kinds of, like, dating apps and stuff, it, like, rushes it.
It does.
Because it's like you feel like you have to, like, tell this person everything about you off the bat.
And also because it is linked through a social media site, like, it is linked through your Facebook,
Yeah.
and you could put your Instagram on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hard for somebody to find you and see, like, oh, you live this amount of miles away. And probably the first question that most people ask is, like,
where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from?
Yeah.
So all it takes really is your first name and where you're from, and they could find you on Facebook and know everything about you.
Actually, the weirdest one was that guy who found me on Pinterest. Who off of my Tinder.
What?
And I thought I told you about this. He messaged me on Pinterest. This was like years ago. And he messaged me on Pinterest and he's like, I saw you on Tinder. We didn't match, but like, I think that like we could like be something because you seem really cool and I like anime too. And it was just really freaking weird.
No, that's just...
But that happens all the time. You never get like people on Instagram that message you.
I had Instagram a lot.
Pinterest one was weird.
Pinterest, that is just
that is
way
weird.
out there.
That was whack.
That is.
That's why I was like,
I don't believe
There's
you.
a reason I didn't swipe right. Like, please.
What would you think my weirdest one is?
Your weirdest one.
Well, I mean, I had it just last
when
week.
we went to Atlantic City.
Oh, I had Atlantic City. I started talking to a girl when I was actually 18. Jonna and I are a year apart, so you gotta keep this in relevance. I was 18. I just started college, actually, at Monmouth, and I had been talking to this girl, and she was like 4 or 5 years older than me.
She was like 21.
No, she was like 22.
22, yeah.
And in September, and it was her birthday coming up, and she wanted to meet me finally face to face for the first time.
When you guys were like practically like online dating.
Yeah, I online dated somebody for a while. That's weird. But anyways, the whole story goes is that she wanted us to go drive down to Atlantic City to meet her, and some way, somehow, Jonna and I were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll go, because I was not going alone.
No.
Because again, like, you have to fear with, like,
you have
danger.
To be safe. You have to be safe. I always told you guys, remember?
Yeah.
Always, anytime I did anything, like,
you would tell me,
and meet someone.
You would tell me who you're meeting with.
Yeah.
You would already have talked about them and where you're going.
Yeah.
But the story of this is, her name was Kylie, and we drove down to Atlantic City. We drove an hour and a half, and I'll never forget that she lied about her height.
Oh my God.
Remember this? She told me that she was like 5'3", and I'm 5'7". So to me, that's not a big difference at all. And then when I got there, I remember just looking down at her and being like, that's a lie. And she was like, I didn't want to tell you that I was 4'11". And I was like, what?
I remember that.
And we ended up having the weirdest night of our lives.
I had a great time.
I had the weirdest
I
night.
loved her friends. We built a fort.
You guys did build a fort.
We ate cookies.
I don't want to talk about my night. I don't think.
We don't have to. But
yeah, I don't want to talk about that one. Yeah, no, that's...
That one was funny, though, how we just, like, went all the way down to Atlantic City.
Just for me to meet some random girl.
But, I mean, I drove all the way out to Robbinsville.
Which is, like, all the way out west.
For, like, my first Tinder hookup.
That's true.
Yeah, I did. But, I mean, that one was fine. It's just when he, like, freaked out the morning after and was like, will you be my girlfriend, that we had an issue.
And then you ran away.
And then I never spoke to him again.
So, I guess the whole point of this episode is, one, Tinder is like a weird parrot. It's just
It is. It's weird. And it has a lot to do with, like, people's maturity levels.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, all my, like, dumb stories are, like, when I was on it when I was, like, 18.
Yeah, the older that you get,
yeah,
like, the older that we are right now, we could take it more seriously.
Yeah, and you know, and then it's just about experience, because of those, like, weird experiences I had when I was younger on it, like, I'm able to identify people on the app that I want to avoid.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, you really have to be careful, especially, like, honestly, like, matching with, like, guys and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be careful, like, how they speak to you, like, how the interaction's going, because you never know, like, the kind of person you're talking to on the other side of it.
No, and it's the same that has to go with girls. I mean, I don't have to face it as often.
Yeah.
But I still get weary of people.
Yeah, and it's not like there's stuff out there that doesn't use women to, like, lure girls into, like, bad situations.
Exactly. But that's another episode that I'm doing. So I don't want to spoil too much for you guys. All right. I'm going to wrap up this episode. I want to thank Jonna for being on the show today.
Thanks.
And I'll catch you guys next time, where I'll probably be looking into what we were just discussing, which is some of the things that you need to look out for with online dating, some of those dangers, because that's a very serious issue.
It's a serious issue. I mean, with, like, the stuff that just happened in the news with that girl who got the backpacker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, all that kind of stuff.
No.
It's no good. It's scary world.
It's a scary world.
And it's social media and like these dating apps just bring people closer together, and sometimes it's not always a good thing.
No, it's really not.
Yeah.
So, I will leave that for next episode.
Mm-hmm.
But until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you.